Good evening, good evening, good evening. As I say, Dumela, Sawubona, Sakase, Namaste, Abshin Dubra Otra, Assalamu alaikum, Hotep. Welcome to another episode of the Digital Couch, where we have inspirational leaders from around the community interact, inform, and inspire their community to live life better than the day before. Tonight is episode, I believe, episode 5. Whenever you see this, please type in episode 5 and the word homeschooling. Homeschooling is the word of the day. It is the word of the day. I don't know if y'all understand how it is the word of the day, but I need you to work with me here. All right. So we have had a variety of conversations in the educational world, in I'll just say the Rona world. And those of you who know why I say Rona, you know. Those of you who don't, check out my Facebook page. You'll understand why I call it Rona. Well, Rona has sort of turned the educational world on its side because a number of people have had a lot of questions about, like, how do people keep their children, quote unquote, home, and how do they educate them? And, are they following standards, and are they, how are they dealing with socialization, and are they dealing with test scores the same way? And how do they advance? All of that. Well, I decided to bring on to the Digital Couch tonight 3, count them 3. I'm putting up 3 on both sides intentionally, but 3 amazing women who are beating the game, right? Who are, let's say, scoring the A's. Let me do that in the homeschooling world. And I really, really want you to not only meet them, but ask questions. You can follow up with questions after this chat is over. And you may have had a lot of questions about homeschooling and how legal it is and what have you. And how do you even make money? Like, how do you make money in order to sustain yourself and homeschooling your children at the same time? These questions and more are going to be answered tonight on the Digital Couch. So join me now. Welcome to the couch. We have, let me get our folks on the stage. We have Kimberly at the Southern Mocha Homeschooling Mom. Welcome, Kimberly. Give a wave.
Hi.
Wonderful. We also have Miss Ramonda Geist at Mocha Southern Belle. Could I get it correct?
You did.
Yes, excellent. And then to complete our chat tonight, we have Sean, the homeschool guru. Woo! Now, we have 2 rules here on the Digital Couch. One being, make sure that everyone has some form of a beverage, because you will need to wet your whistle. You'll need to clear your throat, because there's going to be a lot of good tea on this couch tonight. And the other thing is, of course, to make sure that you follow us. So you're not only following myself, Doriel and Larrier, I'm here on Facebook and YouTube at Learn to Grow You, but we'd love for you to also follow these ladies who are sitting on the couch with us tonight. And you will see their handles or their social media profiles attached to their name. So please follow them in order to, again, ask questions, get, some more intel, and find out, like, is that how you really live it? So welcome again, everyone, to the Digital Couch. I'm going to allow everyone to sort of introduce themselves. And let me just say that I know 2 of the women a little more intimately than I do the other woman. And we literally have found each other and have become a little tighter unit, although I'm sort of the odd person out, because these 3 women are homeschooling. Oh, I guess I got to do it this way. These 3 women are homeschooling, and, I'm not. Actually, my children are already really big, but they have done a phenomenal job, and I've actually been in communication with them about their work, and I really wanted them to meet you and you to meet them. So let's start with Kimberly. Kimberly, would you give us, of course, your handle again, and let us know what brought you to the homeschooling life, and how do you see it benefiting you? Yeah, let's start with that. And then we'll get into some other conversations.
Okay, well, hello, everyone. Good evening. I am Kimberly, the Southern Mocha Homeschooling Mom. I am from Mississippi. I have been homeschooling my now 10-year-old since he was born, pretty much. He has never set foot in a traditional school setting. He has been homeschooled completely by me. He is 2 grade levels ahead. He is currently, this school year, we start in September. He'll be going into the 5th grade, but he has tested at the 7th grade level. Homeschooling for us is so beneficial. I encourage everyone, if you can, like, this is a lifestyle. Try your best. And if you want to really invest in your child's education, homeschool them.
Excellent. Thank you so much for starting us off like that. Ms. Ramunda Geis, I'll add, you can have the floor or have the room, if you will, and share the same form of information about, your child, how long, and what your sort of like pitch, you know what I'm talking about, your pitch about homeschooling is.
Yes, my name is Ramunda Geis. I am a homeschool mom of 7 years. My daughter is 15 years old now. She is a year ahead. She's in the 11th grade this year. Her aspiration is to start college and do dual enrollment as a high school student. We started this when she was 4th grade, going into 4th grade. And we absolutely love it. As Kimberly said, this is an investment into your child's future. And a lot of parents think that they can't do it. But as Kim said, it's a lifestyle. If once you decide that this is what you want for your family, you just make those adjustments to find out how you can make it work for your family. And aside from homeschooling, I am also a certified etiquette consultant and the owner of Mocha Southern Bell School of Etiquette, where we nurture refinement in youth and young adults. We do this through a series of etiquette workshops. You can reach out to us at my social media handle to find out more about that. We would be happy to help you refine the young people in your life.
Thank you, Ms. Ramunda. And now to wrap this part of the conversation up, we have Sean. Come on, Ms. Sean, the homeschool guru.
Listen,
I love that
y'all.
title.
Thank you so much. Listen, y'all. I'm the opposite of Ramonda. Ramonda is very refined. I'm like that homegirl that comes on and sits in the couch, takes her shoes off, we drink sweet tea, and we have a conversation. I love you, Ramonda. I think you're amazing. I'm just saying. That's just me. All right. So my name is Sean Taylor. I go by the name of Sean, the homeschool guru. It was never in my plan to homeschool my children. We have a total of three. Yeah, 17, 15, and 11. It was never in my plan to homeschool any one of my children. I judged homeschoolers, thought they were weird, all that good stuff. Ended up sacrificing, for a good reason, but sacrificing a career to stay at home and homeschool my children. I think we've been doing it now for maybe 5 years or so, somewhere around there. It's the best decision I ever made. I do believe that you can do it. It is a lifestyle, but it's a matter of you understanding that it comes with sacrifice. So it's not just like, yes, I could be in my career. Yes, I could, be aspiring to do other things. In order for us to be here, though, I have to sacrifice a lot. And so there's a lot of sacrificing that happens in order for us to educate our children. Our children are number one. And in the meantime, we have to kind of take a back seat so that we can make that education number one.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you so much. So we have Kim, who's done 10 years. We have Ramona, who's done 7. Did I do that right? No, there we go. 7, right? 7. And then Sean, who's done 5. Kimberly has 1. Ramona has 1. Sean has 3. So we have a variety of amount of years, but definitely if we were talking about like longevity, right? This is someone, or these aren't people who sort of, did the 2019, 2020. I'm homeschooling. These sisters have been at it since pre-Rona. So they have some literal tales to tell, and they have taken the tests. Oh, I'm going to be running on the T's right here. And they have some testimonies to give tonight. I am in Sean, let me ask a question because I don't think I remember. What state are you in?
We're in Texas. We are in the Big T.
Okay, so we have Texas. Ramonda is in
Louisiana,
and Kimberly is in Mississippi. So we have 3 Southern gals who are doing this work. Not to say that people in the South are the only ones that homeschool. There are a hosts and hosts, again, pre-Rona, who are homeschooling as well and are doing it successfully. I just wanted to at least bring to you women that are within, let's say, within my digital four walls, right? So these women have crossed my paths. I have crossed their paths on this digital device, right, called the internet superhighway. I am in, I just want to say, communities with them. I've actually never met them face to face, but that just may change with the upcoming, travel bans being open. And so, of course, that's always a probability, not even a possibility. But I wanted people to be able to ask some questions about homeschooling, and I will pay attention to the chat. Those people who are seeing this, of course, these three women are sharing it on their own platforms. I'm going to be sharing it on multiple platforms as well. And we're going to try to tag some people as well. But I also have a couple of FAQs to ask them, which they're already aware of, because a lot of people have, and thank you, Sean, for saying that you used to be one of the, let's say, the naysayers,
yeah, that was me.
You homeschool? Why? Oh my gosh. I can't have my children around with me all day. Oh my God. No. Guess what? Everybody has had that experience for the last 15 months. So, although people may have looked at them and said, how in the world? Oh my goodness, your children must not be socialized at all. Now you're looking at them saying, excuse me, I need some help. I need some help. I need a lot of help. And some of the help has already been done because these women here, let me do it this way. These women here have actually come together and participated in a collective effort of supporting people who need the information in a variety of ways. And we'll be talking about that more at the end, towards the end. So the next question I want to ask you is there's kind of 2 or 3 big questions that always come up with homeschooling, and you probably already know them. And one of them is, state standards. How are you keeping up with the state standards? How are you making sure that your children are actually completing the required scope and sequence of your state? So, and I know you're from 3 different states, which have probably 3 different mandates. How did you, when you started, or how do you keep up with those state standards? And anyone
in Mississippi? Oh, okay. Well, for me in Mississippi, I go to our State Department of Education website. There's actually a section there for homeschool families, and it breaks down everything you need to be, as far as legal, what they call, legal in your state, what is required and expected of homeschool families. I live in a homeschool friendly state, to where the only thing that's required of me is to submit a certificate of enrollment every school year for the 15th of September. And we are in complete standards. As far as the scopes and sequence, I just, go online. I will look up what, a 5th grader, since that's the grade he's going to now, should be learning. And my curriculum is built off of that. I'm one of the few, I don't want to say few, some homeschool moms build their curriculum from different sources, like my 2 friends down here. I pretty much buy from one company. I don't have time to go, mesh all of here. Give me one website and I'm going to buy everything I need from that one website. So that's how I, make sure he knows everything he's supposed to know.
Excellent. And just as an FYI, any references that are given during this stream, I am putting together a list of the resources that the women will present so that people can have it on a one sheet. So if you stay connected, I will have the link available probably by tomorrow. And so if you just circle back, the link for the resources that the women will drop will be there. So if at this moment, if you know anybody who currently, now listen carefully, listen to mother, listen to the teacher, because I am a teacher. If you know what I know, listen good, because those people who may be in the building already, if you live in the southern states, or those people who are walking into the building in 3 weeks from today, we have a 3-week countdown here in New York. I hope you know what the end of my statement is going to be. We may be walking in the door on September 13th, New Yorkers. How long we going to be there is another story. So somehow, some way, whether you thought you were going to be on the homeschool train for the entire year, you've already been on the homeschool train for a year. Whether your children did remote, whether they did a hybrid, or you walked them back into the building in January or March. So pay attention to the people who have done it very well. Get on their schedules. Listen carefully. All right, Miss Ramunda, how about you? Where do you get your state standards and your mandates from? How do you pull? Oh, I'm sorry, Kimberly. Can you give us the name of the resource that you use?
I use a Becca.
Mm-hmm.
We're just gonna leave it at that. I use Becca. If you want to
Sure.
know my experience from a
Uh,
using a Becca from a melanated standpoint,
okay.
hit my
Oh,
link
wait.
tree that I put that I put in the comment, and
Did
I
we
will
drop the
explain.
melanated word?
Yes, my experience of using a Becca from a melanated standpoint. Okay.
Okay, so right, so hold on. So we'll hold on to that. We'll come right back around because that is very, very, very important. Very important. Those people who know, and if you can, I need my stream team. I need my stream team. Everybody on the stream team, please like drop a hey. I need for y'all to take notes. If you hear a word, a phrase, or if you have a question that is just burning on your heart, please drop it in the comments and we will see them and then we will answer accordingly. Again, also, if you hear a phrase or a resource that is mentioned, and before I can sort of get to type it in, please do us that favor and drop it in, and then we will, of course, polish it up if it needs polishing. So we have Rebecca with Kimberly, and then let's say Miss Ramona, and then Miss Shawn. Go ahead.
Okay. I have, first, let me say this. We, as far as how we come about how we go about making sure that we're meeting the state guidelines. We started off in Mississippi. I moved to Louisiana from Mississippi. And Louisiana and Mississippi have very similar homeschool standards. So I didn't really have to change much. I just had to change what state regulations I was looking at. But it's very similar. We register as homeschoolers at the beginning of the school year. And once we do that, they really don't require anything. It's up to the parent to decide, what path their child is going to take. If they think their child is going to do trade school, if they think they're going to want to attend college or university, then they base their child's education on that. My daughter has decided that she doesn't want to attend college. So I look up the standards and what will be required of her for enrolling in college. So that's what we base our curriculum on. I don't purchase a box curriculum. I have in the past. We found that it didn't work as well for us. So since that didn't work for us, I've gone to putting together my own curriculum. And again, I just go by the state guidelines and what needs to be taught per each subject. And I put together a syllabus for each course because I have a high school student. I put a syllabus together so that she can be aware of what we will be covering for the school term. And I go based on that syllabus, and we just cover all of the skills that need to be covered. And that's pretty much it. We have a lot of resources that we use. The internet is like has endless resources. I have literally just Google searched syllabuses for specific subjects, and they come right up. And I go by that, and we get a great outline of each course for the school year. I buy books that will cover those courses, whether it be textbooks or living books. We YouTube University. I have I've purchased, for instance, I'll purchase materials that people probably wouldn't think they would use for high school students. I've purchased human anatomy and physiology flashcards that you will probably see used more for people in the nursing profession in school. So it doesn't matter. The sky's the limit. You can, do whatever works for your family.
Mhm.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay. All right, Miss Sean. So where do you get your curriculum from? How do you pull it together? And you have 3 children. So Kimberly and
Yeah.
Ramona, they have what? How do you deal with 3? Lord help.
Lots of prayer, lots of alone time.
Some
Well,
coffee.
so
You get
I'm
coffee,
in
you get
Texas,
tea.
right? Lots of coffee, lots of coffee. I'm in Texas, and so we are very similar. All 3 of us are very similar as far as the laws. In Texas, basically, we do what we want. That is legitimately what you can say we do. The law states that you have to be educating them in a bona fide manner. That's what it means. So for real, you're educating your child. And so, and then we have 5 subjects that we're required to teach, which are the grammar, spelling, reading, math, and character ed. And character ed could be social studies, it could be Bible, it could be devotionals, it could be self help, it could be anything, it could be volunteering, anything in that way that's going to build character. So that's what we're required as far as that's concerned. It's very simple. We literally do what we want. For anybody who is wanting to homeschool and wants to know the laws, the best resource is the hslda.org. And that's basically
HSLDA. Uh-huh.
hslda.org. And that's basically the website for the legal defense for homeschoolers. And so if you get into any type of legal binds, where, say, for instance, somebody accuses you, I'm not going to say no names or pour no elbows, accuses you of not homeschooling your child, you can immediately say, hold on, please, and call them up, and they will take it from there. They won't deal with any custody issues or anything like that, but they will deal with homeschool issues. And you have to be a member of them, like a member of their program. You can't, like, an issue can't come up and then you sign up and they take care of it. You have to be a member beforehand before you even do that. But that's a good resource for homeschoolers to have. What I say to my clients all the time about that is, people ask me, should I join? I can't make that decision for you. But what I would say is, if you're in a stricter state like New York, who is really strict, then I would suggest that you join immediately. If you're in a state like us, who's pretty chill, unless you have some type of custody issues, unless you have somebody coming for you for no reason, I wouldn't necessarily join. Now, Kimberly said join. I didn't join. I keep saying I'm going to join, only because I'm in public eye. And so you never know who's watching or who wants to come for you. But that is an amazing resource for you to have in itself. It's hslda.org. Okay.
Excellent. I put it in the chat.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Okay, and then as far as curriculum, Ramonda and I are very similar. We pull whatever. Basically, I write our own curriculum. The bad part about that is, when people hear curriculum, they get nervous and anxious immediately. They think they have to have a textbook. And when you think about it, curriculum is just a collection of lessons. That's it. That's all it is. And so what we do is we collect lessons. So for instance, we are doing a lot of focus on self-help for our kids. Let's see. We're doing books like, you're a teacher, so I'm sure you've seen these kind of books.
Yes.
We're doing these, and then
Spencer Johnson. Yep.
Yeah, we're doing these because I have teenagers who are having some issues transitioning into being an adult into a teenager. So we're doing those types of studies. So homeschooling allows us to pull from all different resources. I use master books. I use study.com. I'm just like Ramonda. I buy books all the time. I get in trouble almost every day because Amazon is dropping off a package. And it's books. It's usually books. And I'm trying to think of what else do we use besides that. Study.com, master books. Help me, Father. What else? We use a lot. And I am an advocate for, if it doesn't work, get rid of it. So I'm not the type of person who, I'm not going to make it miserable for everybody. If it's not working, get rid of it. Let's move on and find something that is going to work. So.
Okay. All right. So now, one thing that you touched on, and I want to circle back to hear from everyone, and maybe the quickest way is to kind of do a poll. So who here has a degree in education? Raise your hand.
There you go.
Okay, look at that. I'm not on the digital couch. I am the host. 3 people here who are on the couch do not have a traditional childhood education, elementary education, high school, what have you, teacher certificate, bachelor's, whatever. They didn't sit in the class to teach the class, all right? But so, and that's a really, really big question. A lot of people will ask, well, I don't have a teaching degree. How in the world can I do this? Am I qualified? Now, let me step back a second. That does not mean that the teachers who are in front of the class, like myself, don't have to have the education in order to teach the students. Some people will say, actually, let me back this up. A lot of people would say before Rona, that job isn't so hard. I'm sure I can do it. And then they spent just the first month with their children. And all of the teachers literally sat back and we were like, we just can't wait. We just can't wait. It didn't even take them, it took about 2 weeks. Like, wait, what am I supposed to do? Huh? How many memes, how many videos, how many shorts, how many reels did we see of parents like literally pulling their hair out saying, how in the world do teachers do all of this? And it's the parent just sitting watching their child on the screen trying to interact with their teacher.
Right.
But these three women here were actually sitting like, okay, now the rest of the world is.
Right. And they only got a piece of it, right? Because the difference, there's a big difference from doing public school at home and homeschooling, right? There's a big difference between telling you what's due and you saying this is due. And so they only got a piece of it. But let me be honest with you. We sit, all those memes we get because we feel that every single day. We want to pull our hair out. We have to put ourselves in timeout. Listen, I'm the one that says, listen, y'all kids can have it. I'm going to go to the room and I will be back in 30 minutes once I get myself together. Right. So, I mean, it's all that to say that we feel the same way that you guys feel.
I agree.
Do we freeze?
It sucks, man. There we go.
Okay.
Some other people may think that, oh, again, like it's the walk in the park, but no, it's not the walk in the park. But yeah, how do you deal with that? So I know one difference, because I had a not just a homeschooling mom, but I had an unschooling mom who was on my couch a couple of weeks ago. And one of the biggest questions that she was addressing was time. How much time in the day it actually takes to, let's say, provide the lessons or share the lessons or expose the child to the information. So whereas our day, and so I'm in essence, I'm doing like an us versus y'all. And I say y'all intentionally because this is still summer vacation. I do not have to be grammatically correct until September. Okay. But our day may be, let's say, the 8 to some families say, well, why can't it be longer? Or, how much do they do? How much do they do all day long? And when we teachers really have to break down the actual time on task, the actual instructional time compressed out of that 6 hours is about an hour and 45 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Maybe 2 hours.
Wow.
Because the other time is getting students into the classroom and unpacking, bathroom breaks, lunch, dismissal, and prep.
Wow. I've heard I always thought it matched up to that 4-hour window, somewhere around there. I never heard that it was 1 hour. Wow.
If you compress, again, time on task in terms of instructional time, that means I'm giving information to you, not, let's say, what we would call independent time. So I'll teach 15 minutes or 20 minutes of, let's say, a literacy lesson, whether it's grammar, reading, or writing. The other 20 to 25 minutes or 30 minutes of that, let's say 45 to 50 minute block, is independent time. It's independent work where you go off. I've taught, now you go off and do, and then I come around and I'll do like little 5 minute, teach in
Mhm.
just for you. But when you put all
That
that time together, it's about an hour and 50, 45, maybe a 2 hour of instruction. So for homeschooling families, your day can be longer, it can be shorter. So would you sort of like give me maybe like a little flow of the day? Like what is the typical flow of the day for you? And again, like how much instructional time do you spend on topics? So like what is your flow of the day? What does that look like? And anyone can start.
Ramonda, why don't you go first this time?
Okay.
For us, we have what a lot of people would say mirrors public school. We do a schedule because I have a type A personality child, and she needs that structure. It helps her to have that. So I literally print out a schedule for her. So every class has a time block. She may finish prior to that the end of that time block. But typically we will start a lesson. We each class maybe 10, 15 minutes of instruction, if that. We will go into YouTube videos to reinforce what we're learning and on to the lesson. So overall, maybe an hour and a half, maybe, of instruction. But the rest of it is self-paced. She gets to go and do her assignment and and turn them in as she finishes them. If she finishes them early and she decides that she wants to move on to the following day, she is allowed to do that. So it all depends on what works for your family and for your child. Um, but just like that, if she is facing something that she's having difficulty with, and she comes to me and she says, "Mom, I don't know, like what I." And here's what I had to learn, because as mama, I want to fix it because I don't want my baby to feel this way. I have had to learn to ask her, "Do you want me to help?
Yes,
Do
that's
you
so good.
need?" And a lot of times she just needs to get it out. And once she gets it out,
Mhm.
she will go into problem solving mode once she has gotten it out. So she gets it out, she goes into problem solving mode, and she goes on. So I think the other thing with this is a lot of times this helps our kids to learn to manage those emotions and to navigate that. Whereas a lot of times they may not really get that otherwise.
Good stuff.
Okay.
Good
All
stuff.
right. All right, Kimberly, you want to fill in?
Yes, I had to go open up our homeschool binder. My child is also type I personality. He has his schedule with his time blocks in. But the beauty of homeschooling for us is, and I had to get out of this, we don't have to follow the arbitrary Bell schedule. And when I say that as I am a single mother who's homeschooling her child. I am also a business owner. I work in maternal health care. So some days we homeschool in the morning, and then by 2 o'clock, I have to cut it off because I'm seeing patients. Some days I'm seeing patients in the afternoon. So, it's like, hey, Monday and Wednesday, homeschooling all morning. Or if I have patients in the morning, we may not start homeschooling until about 1, 2 o'clock. And we homeschool anywhere from 6 to 7 hours a day. And that
Woo.
depends because my child does do tests. He has quizzes. And if it's a quiz day, like when we're in arithmetic and we're having a quiz, and I'm sorry, a test, and that's the only thing for that day, instead of arithmetic being 60 minutes, arithmetic may be 25, 30 minutes, however long it takes him to complete that test. So with us, it's, the days changes. Like, hey, homeschooling may start at 7 a.m. Our homeschooling may start at 1 p.m. It just depends.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And Sean, how do you do that?
So to piggyback off of what Kimberly said, that it's difficult, especially when you're coming from the public school system or traditional school system, to get in mind that homeschooling doesn't necessarily have to work that way. And so for her, like she said, it could be 7 o'clock in the morning or 1 o'clock in the morning. We don't do alarms in our
Or in
family.
the afternoon.
We sometimes, yeah, in the afternoon, in the evening, we don't do alarms in our family. They wake up by 10 because I don't want them sleeping all day because they're teenagers and they will sleep all day if I let them. But we wake up by 10 and then they get their day started. My boys play competitive sports and they do training throughout the actual day. So for instance, they had basketball training today at 1:30. Well, that was slap dab in the middle of our day. So what happens on a day like this? They'll get half of their work done before. They'll go to training, they'll come home, grab some lunch, and then they'll get the rest of their schoolwork done after that. So for us, it's very different. My son also plays competitive soccer. As you saw this weekend, we were soccer all weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So he has morning training at like 8 o'clock in the morning on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So schoolwork doesn't start for us at a normal time, right? It starts after, honestly, it starts after training, after he has breakfast, after he takes a shower, after he lays down and takes about a 30, 45-minute nap, then he gets up and he's ready to go. So, I mean, homeschooling doesn't have to look the way that you think that it looks. Now, we are very type A as well, but type A would only frustrate us in this type of situation because the boys have all the training that they have. If we tried to be type A and be that detailed, we would drive each other nuts. It wouldn't work. It wouldn't work at all. So it's important to remember that when we're homeschooling, or if you're considering homeschooling, the goal is for them to understand the content, understand the concept. That's the goal, right? For them to get the concept. Time doesn't matter. If it takes them 15 minutes to get the concept, great. If it takes them an hour to get the concept, great. The goal is to understand the concept. So if you have to go over it over and over again, there was one particular stuff, multiplication. I taught multiplication for 6 weeks straight. 6 weeks straight. There was no other way that I could teach it for him to get it. No other way. Here comes my mom. Oh, baby, you just do this. What? What do you mean? He understood. He understood.
Wow.
So I mean, it doesn't have to look like the traditional school system. Our days are absolutely insane. I have clients who are nurses. They work 4 days on, 3 days off. So the way that they choose to do it, or I said it wrong, 3 days on, 4 days off. The way that they choose to do it is they work their schedule, they take a day off to rest, and then they homeschool the rest of the days. They spend the rest of the days homeschooling, then they start over. While the person is at work, they're doing independent work. My 17 and 15-year-old don't want to be bothered with mom. They're like, give me my work. I'm good. If I need you, I'll let you know. That's how they are. My 11-year-old literally sits right here, wants to be up underneath me. So, I mean, whatever works for you, whatever works for you and your family.
So let me touch on something that you said, and it has to do with, you said your son is like in athletic training, and you mentioned the times of the day, and I'm thinking, how do they do that? Where are they? Where is he having training? And this, of course, comes to interaction with others, with other children, and with other families. How do you borrow, or how do you collaborate? How do you coordinate social activities with your child? Because that's the other big question. Right. How do they deal with socialization? Oh my goodness, or are like, just to themselves, like locked up with the family all the time. How do they do that? So how right back to you.
COVID was very difficult for homeschoolers. I'm going to speak for all homeschoolers, because when y'all were in school doing what y'all were doing, that's when we had our freedom. We were out and about running the streets. That's when we were able to do what we wanted to do. And so when COVID hit, you guys were like, oh, this is what homeschooling feels like. We're like, no, it doesn't. Like, this is not it. We were miserable because we were used to, once everybody goes to work and everybody goes to school, we were used to having the museums to ourselves, the parks, the libraries. We were used to all of that. We could go on field trips. Let's go to the fire station. Let's go to the police station. Let's go to the garbage, the management. Let's go do the water filtration, all of that. We were used to having that to ourselves, and then everything shut down. And then we were truthfully like, well, what about socialization? Like, that's what we were really. For us, as far as socialization is concerned, we use sports for my boys. My boys, again, one plays competitive basketball, one plays competitive soccer. We kick it with, he has teammates he really likes. They kick it outside of that. We also have family members that we're super close to. And so cousins, we go kick it, cousin's a cousin. and then we do church and other things like that. So it's a matter of you creating opportunities for them to socialize. You could do rec centers. My goodness, Kimberly, what was her name? Lakeisha, what was her sign on? The real homeschooling mom.
The real moms of homeschool.
The real homeschooling moms. I did a conference in June called Tailor Made Homeschooling. And she came on there and blew us away. Do you hear me? She said, I signed my kids up for after school program. And we were like, you mean as a homeschooler? And she said, yes. I signed my kids up for after school program. So after they finish their schoolwork, I pack them up and take them to an after school program so that they can get the socialization that people are talking about. That blew our minds. We were like,
right. Now, actually, let me speak on that from now I'm going to say like I'm an in the building person. So from an in the building person, and those of you who may not know, I've always, and I mean always, advocated for homeschooling, and I mean always. So some of you may not know, I have two sons. So I'm a mom of, and I call myself a 45-year-old mom. That's not my age, but that's how long I have been a mom. So I have a 25-year-old and I have a 20, and I count their ages separately because when you are a mom to one, it is different from being a mom to another. So I actually combine my children's ages, and I am a 45-year-old mom. So,
that's good. That's good. You are telling the truth, though. You're telling the truth.
Because you're momming, right? Momming for one is different than momming for you.
It's different, yeah.
Right. So when my oldest son was, I think about three or four, I homeschooled him for maybe about a year and a half or so. And even though it may seem like, oh, well, that's easy and that's simple, a lot of what you have discussed, setting up your own curriculum. So I know Abeka because I actually used Abeka. Because prior to that, I was a child care director of a Christian parochial school, and that was our curriculum of choice. And so I was like, I like that. And so when you spoke about melanated momming, we're going to talk about that too. So I was like, ooh. And this is 25 years ago, okay? 25 years ago. So even though they may have come a little way, I know they still have ways to go. Anyway, so I thought about like the socialization part, but I just like, Sean, Ramonda, I'm sure Kimberly, we curated our own, social environments. And yes, when everybody else was in the building, right, we had the, like you said, like the run of, let's say like the community pool, depending on the weather, right? The stores where we would do real life conversations. We spent time in the grocery store and did real life. Well, this is how much this costs. Like it was just totally real life, and it was very, very helpful and very beneficial. But because I have a teacher background, I also knew about some certain assessments that were age appropriate and school appropriate. But the thing that I was not allowed, let me just say was not allowed, and I'm a New Yorker, was if you are not associated with the educational institution, people were like, well, how are you getting them into a school connected after school program? That was a tough thing. You had to sort of be a part of the building in order to then be a part of that. But now that we are in, let's say, post 2000, a number of non-school connected after school programming, right?
Yeah,
has blossomed, right? And so if I say, hey, I want to put my child into a pottery class 2 days a week, that's not connected to the school. If I want to send them to dance class, that's not connected to school. If I want to send them to music lessons, but they were probably all starting around 2 o'clock, 2:30, 3 o'clock. So those type of enriching opportunities were available, but if it was connected with the school building, oh no, like whose class you coming from?
Yeah,
you're not coming from a class, no, because we don't have your name and information on record. It was just all these other additional things that stood in the way. So I definitely want to hear more about how you orchestrate the socialization. So thank you, Sean. If you want to add more, definitely, and then Kim and Ramonda, please.
I just want to piggyback off of the school. You're absolutely correct. So it's going to be difficult to do it at the physical school But where the after school programs come in are the local rec centers, like the
Yeah.
YMCAs. So
Yes.
that's where you get around that piece. Yes, especially here in Texas, once we homeschool, we're considered a private school. So like sports, anything like that, we can't participate as far as a traditional school system. We have to do our own thing.
Right.
And so that's just a way to get around that is by using the city's options, the recreation centers and the actual YMC and stuff like that. But that I just wanted to add that little bit.
Beautiful. And just for the people who are maybe just popping in, I know I have some folks who are with me. I see, of course, let me shout out to my mom who is here in the building. Hello, Mom. I see you. I see you. And then I also know a sister friend of mine, Abina, is here in the building or in the room. And she is a mom of two amazing children. We've talked about homeschooling as well. And so let me just type in as you are going on and other people are seeing this, whether you see it live or you see it on the replay, type in anything that has come up. And if it's a question or a piece of information that we need to give you, we will provide it to you. So let me just put down YMCA as a community resource. Got it. Thank you. So Ramonda, Kimberly, how do you deal with socialization?
For us, we do other programs. My daughter is involved in a nonprofit organization that teaches young ladies about modeling. They give them classes and teach them different skills as it relates to modeling. We have done different co-ops, dance. A lot of that has shifted now with COVID, but it's a variety of different things. We have been involved in homeschool virtual groups where they have reading clubs and art clubs. We've even had clubs where the teen girls learn to do makeup. So there are, like you said, we create our own social interactions and environments to give our children those opportunities.
Can you actually just expound a little more about what the co-ops are, because that may be a new phrase. And I just want to say that again, in the past year and a half, homeschooling families have been doing this for decades. They have been they have been creating or crafting their own nuclear families, their own insular social communities for a long time. It wasn't until this situation that some folks, let me just say some folks decided to say, oh, we're going to call these learning pods.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all not new brand. I'm sorry, you're not new brand. These people have they literally wrote the book. And Sean wrote a book. We're going to talk about that in a minute as well. Right? So, oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. Sean. 1, 2, 3. 3 books. So please, we need to drop that in the chat, Ms. Sean. Please start dropping that in the chat. But so they have literally written texts, and they also design courses and they have classes and workshops on how to homeschool, on how to do it great, and how to do it on a budget. It's everyone here does not come from, let's say, this the similar family makeup, right? Or let's say a household makeup. Kimberly shared that she's the family of one adult, right? One adult, one child, and that's how she's working it. Ramonda, it's herself, and so one adult, one child, and I think her family is set up slightly differently. And then Sean is in a different family composition, and so we have everyone doesn't. It's not like there's I'll just use a funny word, billions of dollars that's making this thing happen. Everyone is has their own let's just say additional income in order to make this thing happen. So the coordination of social environments, it's you're not just ringing on the phone with one person. It's relational. It's relationships. And so that co-op. So talk a little bit more about the co-op, and what that looks like and what it feels like.
Okay. Co-ops can be large, they can be small. I've had one co-op where it was just me and 2 other moms, where we all picked a subject that we were going to teach our children. And
Excellent.
I was teaching English language arts, another mom was teaching science, and another mom was teaching math. So it kind of relieved some of the responsibility off of each of us, but we all benefited. And all of our children benefited from those relationships. I've also been involved in a co-op where a larger group of homeschool families got together, and a church allowed us to use their facilities, and we had numerous classes. Each
Mm-hmm.
age group had a selection of classes they could choose from. So each kid would get to choose two classes within their age group, and each parent was expected to teach a class at some point in the co-op
Wow.
so that everybody could benefit from the co-op. For instance, I was teaching world cultures. So, and with the co-ops, you typically want the children to learn, but also um, have activities to where they could still get some of that social interaction. So you did more fun activities and assignments where the kids could work together and things like that. So, like I said, we would get together and each kid would have so many classes they would do, and they pick the frequency. The group gets together and picks the frequency of the co-op, how often they will meet, and what everybody's responsibilities are, what everybody's dues are, and things like that. But it can look different from co-op to co-op, but they all have a similar goal or purpose.
Yeah.
Okay. And just so you know, I'm dropping the titles of the texts of the books that Sean is putting out or has put out. And so anyone can type in or click the link in order to connect to the text for more information. Just in the essence of time, we are going to start to close up, but it doesn't mean that we are done. But I do want to just get a little bit more. So, Kimberly, definitely, like, how do you deal with socialization? And then probably
Okay.
if people can maybe whatever you think that I may have left out, or how do you want? Sorry, Kimberly, once you share, maybe our next focus would be what can other people learn from you and from
Mm-hmm.
your work, that if they have to make that decision, what would be their next step? We'll sort of like start to come
Okay.
on the down slope with that question.
Okay. I believe socialization happens anywhere and everywhere. I am a big fan of civilization over socialization. My child will talk your ear off no matter where we are. We can be in
He will.
Walmart, Target, Barnes and Noble. He will hold a conversation with you. Um, we, like I said, we socialize everywhere. I am now in the process because he loves math. I have signed up with this Math USA, I believe it's the name of it from the email. But it's like a group of mathletes, and you can form a team. So I said I was going to put some fillers around our local community to see if there were any other homeschooling families who had a child that had an aptitude for math the way my child did. And we form a mathlete team to where he doesn't have to compete as a single person. He can have a team that he can compete with, and that'll be a good way for him to socialize. I have also started, that I have not put out yet in a flyer, but I have petitioned to do a junior beta club, and that would be another way for him to socialize, get some more
So,
families and some more
right.
kids.
What is that? Because some people may not know what that
Okay,
is. Yeah.
beta club is I can speak about the junior beta club. It's like an educational club or a society that you want to put it, that unenrolled students can be a member of. So I reached out to them and I wanted to know, were they open up to homeschoolers? And they was like, yeah, here's on the form. You can charter your own club. This is everything you need. So I said this will be another opportunity. Like, we can, put the fillers out there and see if there's any other families who want to be a part of Junior Beta Club who also homeschool.
That
Now,
is
for your
that.
second half, okay.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
the second half of your question, I want to inspire everybody, especially the single parents. You can homeschool and be a single parent. It is going to require some budgeting, I know all about that. You can still work, adjusting
Mhm.
your schedule. I live my life by my planner. If it's not in the planner, it does not exist. My son has his planner. This is how we go about our entire day. And it's like I tell people, I'm homeschooling with no family help, no babysitters. It's just literally me and my son. And we make it happen every day.
Excellent. And I do want to make sure we haven't touched on this topic, but we are all, as you initially said, Kimberly, melanated moms, right? And so
Yes.
before we wrap this up, we definitely have to address, because I think no one actually mentioned the teaching of specifically, but Sean, I think, said something about character education, but no one specifically
Hmm.
said like how is social studies or history, or how is that taught. And
How long is this show? We gonna
It's
need an
okay.
extra hour for that.
Listen, because
Hour though.
I'm texting in my group right now saying I'm gonna be late. I'll catch. I'll let you know.
oh
Okay.
no, that's
Let
right. So well,
It's fine. No, it's fine. Keep going. We're good.
okay.
okay. So wait,
Most
so
people.
in wait, hold on a second. So
Okay.
in light of time, thank you so much, Sean, for being able to save a little longer. But the two things I definitely want to end with are, how do we, as now we happen to be, this is not, my couch is not what is it, exclusive of, thank you, of one particular group. It's just that who the people are that say, sure, I'll come on the couch. Anybody can come on the couch, not a problem. But I happen to be speaking to melanated homeschool moms right now. So in the light of, and I'll just use the overarching topic of critical race theory, right? And now, as I love to use the phrase, narrating your own story and making sure that your own story is told. How does homeschooling, and now I'm speaking as a person who teaches in a building with a standardized state curriculum, how does homeschooling allow you to tell the story versus his story? Get where I'm going with this?
Hmm.
Or a mystery, or a story that gets
Yes.
recreated every couple of decades. So that
Fantasy.
definitely I want to wrap up with, how does homeschooling allow you to be able to be clear about certain information without the concern that you will be stepping on the toes of someone else because it's too delicate.
Let
I
Let me
don't
go.
care about stepping on
Me.
anybody else's toes. I don't
That's what I'm saying.
care.
I
as
don't either.
as
And I'm
as
in
my
Mississippi where black homeschoolers are a rarity. It's mostly white. And they teach that false narrative to their kid. And then when I step into the social media realm and I have other melanated moms look at me like, you use Rebecca? They white lady. They got whitewashed history. This is what I tell them. In order to debate your opponent, you must first know what your opponent is taught. My son is 10 years old. He learns the whitewash curriculum and the whitewash version. He can tell you all about Columbus, how Columbus came on 3 ships. Then he would turn around and tell you what a murderer Columbus was, the Indian tribes of the land that Columbus
Ooh.
stole from, how Columbus
Wait,
murdered half of those Indians, how he even took some of them back to the colonized. He will teach you that the Moors colonized the Europeans. And well, not colonized them, they civilized the Europeans and taught them how to bathe. And it's like he would tell you, like in fourth grade, they started to learn the American Creed through a book. They started to learn the Constitution. My son can quote you that Constitution and tell you right now how the men who wrote that Constitution were all slave owners. The moment they wrote that paper, they never intended black people to be free. We were three-fourths of
mm,
human. They never intended white women to vote. They didn't write that Constitution with poor white people in mind, yet poor white people want to uphold it as this all about me. They weren't talking about you. You guys fought the Civil War for rich white plantation owners. My son will break all that down to you. And I tell people, how can you debate your enemy if you don't know what they've been taught? And my son will be like, yeah, Columbus sailed on the Tina, the Nina, and the Santa Maria. But did you also know these were the tribes that they landed up on? He would he would break it all down.
Wow. Wow. All day. All day. All right, Ramona, how does it work for you? How does it
Um,
allow you the freedom to teach the story?
because some of the co-ops we've been in have been with other, you know, people of other hues. That also allowed me the opportunity to teach my daughter how to navigate some of those spaces and not be concerned about my best friend's mom. She always she always says little, has little quotes. One of my favorites is them they feelings. They can do whatever they want to do with it. So so I will tell my daughter in a minute.
This is
They
my
can do
show.
whatever they want to do.
This is my show. I had to say it last night. This is my show. Y'all don't like the content? Just swipe. It's fine. This is my show.
I will tell her in a minute, you do not diminish who you are, the knowledge you have for anyone. You don't have to be arrogant. You don't have to be ugly to people, but be who you are and stand in who you are.
Yes, Lord.
If they don't like it, that's a them issue. That's not on. We, by us being homeschool parents, a homeschool family, I choose what content we ingest. From movies to documentaries.
Yeah.
As a mom, as a parent, you are going to look out for your child's best interest. So if you want your child to know the truth, you don't have to be confined by a classroom that says we can't show this content because it might not be age appropriate. You get to decide that,
Right.
as a homeschool parent. So we watch things that are sometimes, some people may not feel like are age appropriate for younger ages, but because we watch it together, we get to discuss it and dissect it together and get to see the full picture of it. Like I said, and that comes with documentaries, movies, and I think I have a daughter, as a young lady, a young Black woman, she needs to be comfortable taking up space.
Yes.
And I teach her that. I teach her why sometimes people can be uncomfortable with her and why that has nothing to do with her.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And how she does not have to apologize, make excuses, make up stories. Just wait, can I just show that I'm wearing my Black Girl Magic shirt?
Sure, show it. Oh, that's cute.
Yes.
But all y'all just upstage me, but I just had to show. At least I was okay. All right. Thank you. Yes. And they need to hear from their mom, in the space that they're learning information. And when they open up these textbooks that may or may not have the appropriate description, explanation, historical construct of them, their mama, or their dad, we have some dads in the homeschool dads as well, or uncles or family members who are closer to them, needs to be able to pour into them and say, okay, you may not be in this book put out by the state, but let me get you some actual real world texts.
Yes.
Some other history books that may not be allowed that were banned. Let's talk about the banned text. This gonna have to be a part 2. I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
The banned text. Guess what? Mama's gonna read you the banned text. I'm gonna explain these words and why they were then put on the ban list. I'm going to teach you about the stereotypes, because the stereotypes are only stereotypes through one person's lens. Let me tell you the story behind this.
That's it.
I don't have the time.
By one person's lens.
Right. I don't have the time in the 6 hours for the day to unpack all of that. Because what happens? We, as the teachers who are in the building, we say, well, you know what? that's really for the family to explain. That's for the
Mhm.
family to share. That's for the family. But if families do not know what the scope and sequence of the curriculum for the state, for the city, for the town, for the county, for the neighborhood is, then we can't really expect for the parents to totally be in concert, right? In concert with us and actually share that information. So Sean, why don't you wrap up and share, your perspective of the same thing? Because you said, I don't care.
I don't. I don't. And it's and I'm gonna give y'all some insight, and this might be scary. Don't be scared if you're thinking about homeschooling, but it is a rough road for Black homeschooling families because technically it wasn't created for us in the first place. And so now that we are stepping into this realm of things and understanding our freedoms and understanding the greatness that we come from, it can be very unwelcoming. It can be it's a rough spot to be in. It's like being the only Black person at the job, almost like that type of situation. And so I'm just gonna put that there, lay that there, okay? But for me, for history, I don't like how history is taught from the side of the victor, right? I want to know about the person that lost. I want to know about the people that lost everything. One of the things we're talking about right now, we're doing we do book studies. So we're doing Stamped, the book study right now. I don't know if you can see that, okay?
Okay, I'm going to type
We're
it in.
doing this as a family, okay? We've got comprehension questions. We do vocabulary we do words, all of that good stuff. But it was eye-opening to me, even as a homeschooler, for us to sit and talk about systemic racism and why it truly does exist now versus the people that are saying that it doesn't exist. And as they realize that the land was snatched from people of color and given to others, as they realize that people were given reparations, were given stuff to get started, and we were not given stuff to start. My kids are going, how can you sit here and say there's no systemic racism when you pushed us down further than we were from the beginning? It's, for me, as history, it's all about living books. So I'm finding books like this. We're reading, we're doing our research. I don't want to know the side of the victor, because the victor, of course, is going to tell his side. He's going to gloat. It was amazing, and we helped those poor people, and he's going to make it sound amazing when that's not. That's not what it is. It is a sticky place for us to be homeschoolers in the United States. And I try to ride that line very thin for me, because I am in front of the homeschooling families, and there are people who don't look like me who enjoy my content. But it's very difficult for us. It is truthfully like being the only Black person at a job and having to represent yourself in that space. It's very difficult, very difficult.
So I'm going to show you a question that is at the bottom, and we could probably start to wrap this up. Again, time flies when you're having fun, and we're having an amazing time. So Shanavia Smith said, "Hey Queens, can I please get some book recommendations?" So I'm going to have us end, or at least again start to come down on the other side with one book. Now, hopefully, Shanavia, you've seen that we actually put Sean, and Sean, why don't you sort of like start to wrap us up by talking about how you took the lead a little while ago. You explained that the whole process, and you wrote some texts. You partnered with a few other homeschooling moms and some of the workshops and classes, Ramonda, Kimberly, that I know you're involved in as well individually. So in essence, we're going to roll out with how can people connect with you, be consulted by you, take your workshop, pay for your intellect to do what they are about to do.
Right.
How can we do this? So Sean, you start with the books, and then Ramonda and Kimberly will sort of wrap up with how, what piece of pie you have.
I hate to toot my own horn, but I am going to toot my own horn. I would not have said, listen, I wouldn't have said anything about the books if y'all didn't mention the books, to be very honest with you. But if I was going to say recommendation wise, this one right here is probably the best. Let me get it in front of the camera, which is my book, which is a 3-time Amazon bestseller, which is How to Transition to Homeschooling. This will walk you through the 5 steps to get started in homeschooling. And I put that, or you put the link in there for me, so I appreciate that because I couldn't figure out how to make it work.
I got you.
So I would recommend that as far as how to get started. And then I also have collaborated with a bunch of other writers, had the pleasure of doing some other books as well. So this one is African American Homeschooling Mompreneurs. So we're
Yeah.
all homeschoolers and we're all mompreneurs, making our own money, right? Getting that bag, as they say. And then another group of families, African American families, why we homeschool. So, I mean, if I could say anything about your homeschooling journey is, again, remember that I don't think I said this, so I can't even say again. It's your journey. It's literally a tailor-made fit. We're three different homeschooling moms, all of us. We talk pretty consistent. Although there are some similarities, we are very different in how we run things. But it works for us. I couldn't do Ramonda's schedule because I personally would be ready to fight my kids, right? That wouldn't work for me. Okay, but it works for her, right? So when she says I have a schedule and we go from this time to this time, I'm over here like, girl, you better get it, whatever makes it work. So that's the biggest thing I can say about homeschooling. It's your journey. It's custom made, right? Don't try to reinvent the wheel. Just tweak what's already been made and just do your best. Do your best.
Excellent. All right. And Sean, Ramonda, Kimberly, do you have, again, like workshops? How can people consult with you? How can they, get some of your tea? I know somebody has a planner. Yeah. I know someone has a scheduling opportunity that is available for purchase, that because I saw her design it. It is amazing. And Kimberly, I know don't you have a planner that you've made, or scheduling, or some scheduling templates?
Well, no, I don't. I tell people I'm a Franken planner, and I have so much stuff going in. But I tell folks all the time,
how you do that, because it is amazing. I just watch you.
I'm like, follow me on my IG, and you can see how we do this homeschool life. Like, I put my link tree down in the comments. You can just follow us and we go for life homeschooling.
Excellent. Ramonda, tell us about your scheduler, your planner, how you keep this going.
Well, I am kind of like him. I'm a Franken planner. I use other planners, but I do create a lot of organizational tools, notebooks, things like that. I do have a great tool for like we talked earlier about self-regulation for our kids and even adults. I have a great tool right now on my website for that. That'll kind of help guide people, whether it be children or adults, with that type of thing. I have notebooks. I have a beautiful travel planner that I have on my website right now. I know things are not, open right now, but we're getting there. I actually have if you give me just a second, I could show it.
Of course. That's fine. So listen, I'm going to, as we start to wind down, I really thank you so much, Sean, for sharing the books that you've written, Kimberly for sharing like the other work that you do outside, not sort of outside of the home, but outside of the home, but you're able to bring your clients, your part of your day gig into your environment. And Ramonda, you have a number of things going on, making sure that ladies are ladies.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right? That we stay ladies. Yes? What you got?
So here are my beautiful travel planners. They are up on my website. You can find my website. I added my Linktree link. Like I said, I have these planners as well as me teaching etiquette classes, workshops. That can be done virtually or in person. Of course, we would limit the number of students in person. But if you're interested in that, please reach out to me. Again, my links can be found on my Linktree for both of my websites. And we would love to work with you all.
Excellent. So for those of you who are still here, I want to once again, and this is what I say to my students who are in the building, high five in the camera. High five in the camera. Right, excellent. It's my way of connecting to my folks. But this was such an amazing conversation. I really, really thank you so much from the bottom of my digital heart for sitting on the digital couch with me and those who are below. This has been wonderful. I've been talking about this for a while. I actually intended to have my homeschooling shepreneurs in the summer, because I wanted people to know that homeschooling is an option. If you got nothing else from this, homeschooling is an option. We have, again, three different family structures that are here before you who are doing it. And they're not, again, they're not, let me say, they're not new jackies. I would like to say new jacks, but they're not new jackies, in this situation, in this life, in this homeschool life, hashtag homeschool life. They have been doing it 5, 7, 10 years, right? From Kimberly, from birth. Ramonda since 4th grade. Now her daughter's in 11th grade, almost, about to finish her schooling, basically, because of the choices she's making about her next steps. And then we have Sean, who is homeschooling 3 children, and within, in doing intramural, right, social engagement, and then 3 different students on 3 different levels, but she's keeping them athletically engaged and socially engaged in terms of social justice by reading the book Stamped. And I actually just pulled it up and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to get the book myself. And there's an adult version and there's a children's version. Come on. These are, and I'm going to use the word lovingly, educated, right? These are severely educated families, dedicated moms who do the research at night while their children are asleep.
Yes.
They come with it. They come with it during the day in order to make sure that there are no gaps. There are no gaps. There is no unfinished learning that a number of globally of families who were in a building for the past year and a half, who were not in the building for the past year and a half, or had interrupted educational moments. There is no unfinished learning. As Kimberly said, that her child is 2 years above. And how? Because she is connected with her state standards and is doing the assessments adequately and appropriately, and I'm sure submitting them to whoever it is that needs to be submitted to, so that the state can recognize that, yes, this child is not just on target, but above target, right? And so if you want to share with them, if you want to ask questions to them, you have Kimberly at the Southern Mocha Homeschooling Mom, you have Ramonda at Mocha Southern Belle, and you have Sean, the Homeschool Guru. They are, I believe, are on Instagram and on Facebook. And if there's any questions and you feel that you are not able to communicate with them or be in contact with them, please just hop on to me in my DM, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook, and just say, hey, Doriel, can you please give me some more information about the topic tonight and maybe the resources? Just give me a couple of hours and I'll put up all the links. I try to take as best notes as possible, and I've taken some other notes just to put it together for you. So I thank you once again, everyone who has come, everyone who has said, what? High five in the camera. Oh, thank you. Yes. I love you dearly. Again, I've wanted to have this conversation for a while. I'm glad that you decided to sit with us. And so if all hearts and minds are clear, excuse me, if all Ticonderoga pencils are sharpened, don't come with me with anything else but Ticonderoga #2 pencil.
And look, these are the ones I use, and it's all the way down. These are my favorite.
You got the black ones?
Yes, and I'm like, don't touch them. Don't leave my pencils alone.
Trying to be fancy. I love you all. I love you all. So peace and blessings. This is a Learn to Grow You moment where I plant seeds to help you grow. Thank you very much for popping onto the digital couch. Please check my Facebook for the additional chats and conversations. We're going to be speaking with, my senator, who of New York. In a couple of days, we're going to be speaking to the leader of an international faith-based missionary organization in a few days, and also an actor who is putting together a multimedia piece addressing the lives and the names and the narrative stories of Africans in the diaspora. All that's happening in the next couple of days. But this has been episode 5 of A New Class is in Session. Once again, my name is Doriel and is Laria of Laria's Education and Resource Network. Learn to Grow You, where I plant seeds to help you grow. And I will see you on the next digital couch. Have a good night.
Bye.